We are now starting Sefer Shmuel. Shmuel Aleph. Now Shmuel was written by Shmuel, but Shmuel is a very long Sefer, so it was divided into Shmuel Aleph and Shmuel Beis. We also know that Shmuel wrote Shoftim. So why would he not just have a continuous process and just go on from Shoftim to the story of Shmuel? And the answer is because the focus of each of the Sefarim are very different. The focus now is going to be Shmuel he is the transitional person. He is the last of the Shoftim and the first of the Nevi'im. We have an understanding, remember, from the discussion of the Mesorah. And so Shmuel Hanavi is that transitional figure. And it is the Bnei Israel are going to transition to a time where there was the leader who was the religious and the military leader, to now we're going to have it as separate positions. And it is also going to lead us to a much more stable time. Now, we have an understanding, the Gemara talks about, that during the time of this period of time, there was a bas kol that went out that kept on talking about that Shmuel is going to be the leader. So every mother that had a baby would name their baby Shmuel in the hope that this will be the leader of the Bnei Israel. So there is a positive shift that is happening. Now we also know, and that we would just experience, that Shevet Levi, the man from Shevet Levi, was not a very positive one. Here, we're going to undo that. Elkanah, who we're going to hear about, was ben Yerocham, ben Elihu, ben Tohu, ben Suf, Ephrasi. So Elkanah has many generations of members of his family. Now, if he has many generations of family members, that means that his lineage is pure. Now, he is not the person from Levi, but Elkanah is going to be someone who is very, even in this very tumultuous time, he is a tzaddik, and his tzidkus is something that is highlighted, because when the Torah talks about different generations of Ben, it's referencing that they were all pure. And so Elkanah is a very pure man, and the purity of it is kel kana. He buys Hashem, meaning he is purchased. He is all in for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He's from Ramatayim Sofim. What is Ramatayim Sofim? So either you could say it's a geographical location from near Har Ephraim, but Ramatayim is that there were two hills, and the hills faced each other, which means that he is going to be a positive influence, not just in his own aliyah, in his own trying to climb the mountain to be the best that he can be, but on the other hand, he's also he's a good person. He looks for other ways to help out other people. It's not just his own ascendance that is important. And in fact, when he would go up, Aliyah L'Regel, when he go up to give their korban to Hashem, he didn't go along the same pathway twice. He would go in different pathways to get more and more people involved, because that's the kind of person that he was. So with that, having said that, he had two wives. He had a Chana and he had a Penina. Now Chana was the first wife, and Penina, he had many children. L'Chana ein yeladim, but Chana doesn't have any children. Who is Chana? So Elkanah was one of the 48 Nevi'im, and Chana is one of the 7 Nevi'os. She is a prophetess. What is special about Chana is that also she kept the 3 mitzvos that her name represents. Chana is Chala, Nida, and Hadlakas Haner. So she was the epitome of trying to do kiruv and be a light to the other people, a role model, pure as can be, a neviah in her own right. And she doesn't have any children. When she doesn't have any children, who do we think of? Of course, the Imahos. She is just like the Imahos, and in more ways than one that we'll see. But she doesn't have children, just like Sarah and Rivka, and that was very, very difficult for her. So he goes up, miyamim yamima, lishtachbos lisboach Hashem. So he's going from his town to worship and to offer sacrifice in Shiloh. We haven't really had so much to do with the Mishkan in Shiloh. From Shoftim, it was all just mentioned at the end. Nothing significant. But now this is a place. There's Aliyah L'Regel, and there are two. The Bnei Eli. Who is Eli? Eli is the Kohen Gadol, and Chofni and Pinchas are Kohanim Lashem. So Chofni and Pinchas are also Kohanim, who Eli tries to get involved to do what, all of the good work that he's trying to do. So you have that he has two children. They're Kohanim LaHashem. They're doing the work of Kohanim for Hashem. And Elkanah goes to give a sacrifice, and he really tries to make things good for his whole family. But Hannah, so what does he give her? So he gives a portion to Penina, because obviously she's the mother of his children, and everyone gets their portion. And Hannah, he gives this mana achasapayim. What is that? So either he did it with a smile, he gave her the best part, he gave her more than everyone else, and because he loves Chana, and he saw how sad she was, but that Hashem sagaros rachma, she couldn't have children, and that was a fact of life that he had to live with, and he tried as hard as he could to do what he could to really make her be okay. But at the same time, ki asta tzarasa gam kasba bur harima. What would happen is her sister, Penina, would make fun of her and make life miserable. Oh, would you mind taking care of this because you don't have any children, you have nothing to do anyway? Oh, would you mind, why is it that you have so much time on your hands? Oh, that's right, you don't have any children. These really mean, directly hurtful comments that would just make fun of her. Now, why is that? So the Gemara talks about that really it wasn't something that she wasn't doing l'shem shamayim. She was really trying to goad on Chana so that Chana would daven, and that maybe there would become something good, and that maybe the more that she knocked her sister down, the more it would be helpful. But we don't do that. Remember, we learned with Boaz and how he all of his children died because he didn't invite for the good reason, because someone didn't have any children. But you don't do that. You don't make decisions that are going to hurt someone, even for the sake of Hashem. Hashem can be mochel on his kavod. Hashem could say, no, it's really okay. Like I'm okay with what you with your decision. And could be forgiving on the sake when he is mochel on his kavod, like what happened with Yael and Sisra. But not this is not. You can't hurt another person in a bad way for the sake of Hashem. It doesn't work that way. And so what would happen is, we'll get to what happens after. But every year this happened, and every year she just would lose her appetite. She wouldn't be able to eat, and it just was hurting her so much. And Elkanah would say, Lama tifki, why are you crying? Lama lo tichli, why are you not eating? Lama yirei labech, why are you so sad? Halo anochi tovlach masar habanim, aren't I better than 10 sons? Now, on the one hand, he was trying his best. But on the other hand, what she realized at that point was, wait a second, he's given up. He's just trying to make me feel better. But why isn't he doing everything he can? Why isn't he feeling it the same way that I'm feeling it? And so from that moment, Batakim Chana, after that, she gets up. She realizes if it's not going to be in my hands, it's not going to be helpful. I need to bring my own reality. I need to handle this. And what she does is she goes and she goes into and decides she is going to be the one to daven. She is going to bring this to its fruition. And Eli sees her. because that's where he is. He is the Kohen Gadol. Obviously, he's going to be sitting in the Beis Hashem, and it Vihi Maras Nefesh, and she is so bitter, and on that bitterness, Batispalel El Hashem Ubachot Zivkeh. From the depth of her despair, she cries out to Hashem. She davens to Hashem. We actually learn 3 things. We learned that number 1 is when you're davening, you should have kavanah. She's got pure kavanah. Number 2, you should be davening. You can daven silently, but as we're going to see, she davens with her mouth moving. You can't just daven in your head. And number 3 is she's davening quietly. Until that point, people didn't daven quietly. Now you can't scream in davening to annoy somebody else. And when she makes a neder to Hashem, Imra'o tireh ba'ani amasecha, uzachartani b'lo tishkach et hamasecha. So Hashem, if you can just find me, and remember me, and not forget me, and give me a child, and I will give him to Hashem for all of his days. Umara lo yalel rosho, and we'll have to understand, a mora is not going to go on his head. So first of all, she says, Hashem tzvakos. Hashem, you are in charge of the entire universe. You can't give me a little kid. You're in charge of the stars, the moon. They're like, come on, you got this. Or she's saying, Hashem tzvakos. You see how much chesed that I do. You see everything. Ra'ot tireh. You see exactly what to do. Can you just take one of my zichuyos and make me have a child? That's all I'm asking. Or Hashem tzvakos, Hashem, you are the master in this world and above with all the luminaries. And you can see that our job down here is to procreate. So for that reason, because you set it up this way and you didn't put me in Shamayim, you need to give me a child. And she's very direct with Hashem because she loves Hashem and she believes that it is only through Hashem that anything's going to happen. And she says that for all of his days, kol yimei chayav. How many days is that? Well, we have an understanding that Shmuel, her child, is only going to he's going to be alive for 52 years. So we have, so that is what we're going to get to. So, but what is mora lo yale al rosho? So there's actually a machlokas as to whether or not there's a disagreement. Is mora a razor, meaning with a hey, it's a razor, that a razor will not go on his head, meaning he's going to be a nazir, a special type of relationship that he's going to have with Hashem, or mora could be also with an aleph, that no one, he's going to be afraid of no one. He is going to be the highest level of dedicated to you and in the highest position. Anyway, she keeps davening, and Eli shomeres piha. Eli is watching her mouth, because remember, she's mouthing it. And Chana midaberet aliba, that's where we learn the idea of kavana. Raks vaseha naos, her mouth is moving the lips. That's where we get the idea that you have to move your lips. But kola lo yishana, and she's not screaming. But Eli thinks that she is shikora, that she's drunk. How could he ever think that she's drunk? So here's an important life lesson. He sees something that he's not familiar with. And what does he do? He misinterprets. He went to the Urim and Tumim, and he got letters. He got a shin, chaf, resh, and hey. So he put it together as shikora. But what really was it? It was really, if you flip around the letters, kisara or kishera, that she was holy, or she was just like Sarah. And sometimes in life, you have to look for it's important that if you don't fully understand the situation, look for things in the positive, because he gets it wrong. And he tells her even so, how long are you going to be drunk? Like, move your, sober up. Hasiris yenich me'alayich, like, leave the alcohol. And she says, no. Lo adoni, ishaksha ruach anochi. I'm just bitter. You're misinterpreting. Yain b'shechar lo shasisi. I didn't drink any wine. Beshbochas nafshi lefnei Hashem. I just unburdened myself to Hashem. No, that is not what happened. And so what happens, what does Eli have to do? So we have a halacha, or a principle at least, that if you are choshev b'ksherim, if you misinterpret somebody, you have to give them a bracha. So he does. He says, Lechi l'shalom, go in peace, because Elokei Yisrael yitina shalasei asher shal mimo. You're gonna get exactly what you asked for. Great bracha. And that's, she says, okay, thank you. And she goes on her way, and she's happy. She, just from the promise of a gadol, she's happy, she's good. How many times have we been to gadolim where they reassure us and they give us chizuk? And so you have to be on a certain frequency just to be able to take it and really have that chizuk, have that strengthening. And then that's it. They go up, they go home, and she's happy. And again, she's with her husband, Vayizkareh Hashem, and Hashem remembers her. And that's it. She has a child. Now she calls him Shmuel. Where is that from? Shama Kel, right? Or Sha'al Hashem. I asked for a child and I got it. And Ki Hashem Sha'altiv, because it is all, that's what she asked for. And what is she? And Elkanah is so happy, and he gives a korban to Hashem. And Chana, she doesn't go. And she says, Ad shikamel hana'ar hebditiv in your b'nei Hashem. I'm going to bring him as soon as he's weaned. And so she takes him, because that's Vayashev Sham Ad Olam. And here we have an understanding of what she really intended when she said that he's going to be Kol Yamav, all of his days. It's Ad Olam. And Olam could be forever, or it could be for 50 years, the years of Yovel. And so that's exactly how long he lives for. She waits 2 years, she allows him to be weaned, and then she gives him up. And she gives him up wholeheartedly. She did not care. Imagine, this was the thing that she had worked for and wanted more than anything else in the world. But she wanted it, l'shem shamayim. Children are not there just to bring us nachas, but rather here is a good life lesson. There, if we do it l'shem shamayim, it's for you, Hashem, that I could give into this world something that's going to make the world better. And like the kids should hopefully be that. But it's for you. It's not for my own kavod. It's not for anything, my own pleasure. That's not why children come into the world. And she does. She takes him along with the whole big korban, and she brings him to Shiloh, and she brings him to Eli. And she tells him, please Hashem, please Eli, I am that woman. I am the woman who stood by your side and davened to Hashem. And I davened, El Hanar Hasehit Palalti, Vayitin Hashem Liyashalti Asher Sha'alti Miyamo. I prayed for this boy, and Hashem actually gave it to me. And so here you go. Hu Sha'ula Hashem. He is going to be, I'm lending him to you, to Hashem. Right? I got everything, and now I'm giving it over to Hashem. And what we see again is the amazing sacrifice that she does for the sake of Hashem. But we also have an understanding, she does it willingly and gladly, that everything comes full circle. It's interesting, oftentimes when you go to a Rosh Yeshiva or whatever, someone to give brachas, you don't fill them in exactly on what happened. Okay, so thank you for it. I asked you for this for so long. It's important that everything should have its completion. When people are davening on our behalf, or when people are caring about us, it's important to allow things to come full circle and to have some level of closure. And so that's what she does. She says, thank you so much for your bracha, Kohen Gadol. Here you go. Here's exactly what it is that I asked for. And so we see that there's a whole different level here of what's going on. We also have an understanding that Shmuel actually came from Shevet Levi, and he is a direct descendant Elkanah of Korach. And what's interesting is we all thought, Korach was such a bad guy, but really Korach did a similar type of misreading the nevuah that he got, that he thought, oh, Shmuel's going to come for me, so I must be really, really important, so I should be the leader, not Moshe. Meanwhile, Moshe was more important than he was, and that, yes, his descendant was going to be of Shmuel Hanavi. And so we see here that, again, there are a lot of ways that we interpret things. Oftentimes we get signs in our life, and it's important, so important, that we interpret it the way L'Shem Shamayim, for the sake of Hashem, because otherwise you can twist things all the time. And if we do it for the sake of Hashem, and we do it also in a positive way, Dan l'kap's close. Judge people favorably. Try your best to look at the world as people that are trying their best too. None of us are perfect, and so if we go in trying to be helpful to people, right? The Ramatayim Sofim, like not just that it's us and our mountain that we want to climb, but that we're looking to help other people to climb. That's really the epitome of what Hashem wants from us, and we will see in the next Perek the continuation of the story. So just to clarify, Elkanah was from Shevet Levi, not from Ephraim. He was Ephrati, but it doesn't mean that he was from Har Ephraim region. But just to clarify, he was a Ish Gadol, he was an important person from Shevet Levi, which allows for there to be a level of repair from all of the other people from Shevet Levi that unfortunately at the end of Shoftim did not do what they had to.